Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Sports Talk 920. I am your host, Michael Goodman, and once again going solo here this week. But anyway, we have a lot of good stuff going on. College football right now, just going nuts. The Wisconsin Badgers squeaked by in a 23-17 victory over Georgia State. At first it was really just a big miscue of offense where Bart Houston just once again really couldn't get anything going, and eventually got benched by Honeybrook. Started a little sparks there, but then at the same time, as Honeybrook sparked the Badgers offense to get from 6 to 23 in the second half, Georgia State actually had a lead for some points during that game. It was pretty close, pretty tight. And then another big upset in college football today, probably the biggest one that happened today, was the North Dakota Bison defeating number 13 Iowa in the last second field goal, 23-21. And something that's maybe not too unfamiliar for North Dakota, as it was their sixth straight victory over an FBS school. Of course, North Dakota's an FCS school, so that's saying something quite a bit there. But anyway, wow, just a crazy day in college football. I got to get the computer up here if you heard something scratching around in the background. And other games too that maybe you wouldn't have expected, but Florida State Louisville. This was going to be that first really big test for Louisville as they took on number 2 Florida State, taking care of business. Last I looked here, maybe I'll have to look again, but that score was in the realm of 63-10. So maybe something where we could say, can we say Louisville's for real? Their quarterback, can't think of his name off the top of my head, but really a kind of a surprise that he was a favorite for the Heisman Trophy candidate, but this was a test to see if they were for real. And we do have the Xfinity race going on right now too, as I see. But anyway, yeah, it's 63-10 right now, and it looks like just 10 minutes to go in the quarter. So Florida State getting shocked by Louisville. So pretty much that will mean it's in Louisville. So that pretty much means Florida State will never schedule a hard conference game. But looking at their schedule, they just got up. They've put 70 points up versus Charlotte, 62 points versus Syracuse, and put up a 60-burger today versus Florida State. So a high-powered offense for the Louisville Cardinals. That's going to be interesting. Now knowing that I living close, but now knowing that this team is as powerful as it could be, it might be a game where I have to go to this year, just checking out other stadiums. But Louisville, man, oh man, just dominating college football right now. Maybe be a team that should make one of the biggest jumps in the polls coming off this week. Defeating the number 2 team in the country and beating them so handily, and really just being able to put up points. And yeah, if that Lamar Jackson is his name, there it is. 13 for 20 today for 216 yards. He has 1 pass TD. He does have a pick. I believe last week he had 1 touchdown, pass for a touchdown, and then he also had six running TDs. I think that's how it went. I had that backwards. Oh, and then he has 4 rushing touchdowns today too. 17 for 146 and 4 rushing touchdowns. So just doing what he does best, basically, at the end of the day. But man, oh man, Louisville Cardinals kicking it up, and we have other good games going on yet today. We have Ohio State playing Oklahoma, 2 ranked teams there. Just a lot of college football that's going on. Great, which is one reason why I did the show late today. Was going to go golfing actually and do it after I golf, but just a lot of good college football games going on today. and had to check some of them out. And the Badger game, I probably would have did it in the middle of the Badger game, but that came down to be a lot closer than one would have thought. But anyway, as far as the Badgers are concerned too, I don't know if this was a case of kind of looking ahead to conference play, and if you really think about it, it's the challenge that the Badgers have coming up ahead. They'll have Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Iowa, which Iowa now did again lose today to North Dakota. But North Dakota, I mean, really not a school to sneeze at. But I think the Badgers maybe I'm hoping just we're looking ahead, and it is still I'm glad the Badgers got the win. It should have been a game that the Badgers pummeled them, but it's kind of the beauty of college football where anything can happen on any given Saturday. I think sometimes more so than a professional football game where, sometimes the spreads, I don't know what the spread was for the Badger game, but say if it had to be well over almost like 20 points and it come down to a 6-point game. I mean, a lot of times even closer, and even when Georgia State had the lead, that's really a lot to like about that. But there's some lapses in the defense too today for the Badgers. Really, the secondary looked a little bit weak. But once it was time to buckle down, once the Badgers kind of got that momentum back, and that's one big thing. You can dissect college football, down to a thin wire, but momentum seems to be the big key that happens there. But again, we have a NASCAR race in Chicagoland here too this week. Right now, Kyle Busch is leading the Xfinity Series race, so might as well not even watch that either. But because you have so much good college football going on right now, I don't know why you would, unless you're that big of a NASCAR fan. But with Kyle Busch show, he's going to make it probably not that exciting. But anyway, going into the chase here now, we have the chase set. I mean, nothing really changed. Going into the chase too for the NASCAR for the Sprint Cup, chase for Sprint Cup. Sorry, I've yet to do a bracket. I might have to do that tonight for who I predict will advance and whatnot from here on out. But so I'll kind of wait to reveal that. I think that it's going to be interesting now that we're in the playoff mode. Now that the wins don't matter to get in. We've seen teams like Stewart-Haas Racing, with Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch be really consistent, but not able to rack up, many wins as say like the Joe Gibbs organization has been doing as of late. So I don't know if that's going to really hinder their championship hopes, at least going into Homestead. Once Homestead, basically, both years that they've had this new really bad format, it's come down to who's going to win it in the last race. But that's still 10 weeks away. A lot of stuff can change. We look at a guy like Kyle Larson who really could also in his own right be a championship hopeful, which even after he won that race at Michigan, you're kind of thinking, well, maybe not. That they're not going to get anything done. But since then, at Darlington, he had a good chance of leading. Kyle Larson was right up there in the mix at Richmond last week. So really, I mean, this is a school that, or not school, I'm used to the college football talk here, but Kyle Larson's a kid that and Chip Ganassi is an organization really that has cranked it up, and I still don't know why my Twitter tweets go to my wife's Twitter account, so I have to retweet that. So that's dumb. But anyway, that Kyle Larson and that team, maybe even the one team, but I don't want to say that Chip Ganassi stable. I think it's going to be the 42 car that has a pretty good shot. But they've been in contention. They've been running in the top 5. They've been contending for wins. It was the old, they always say once you get your first win, they come a lot easier. That seems maybe the case for Kyle Larson. He was contending for wins early on in the season, and then kind of went through that lull. It seemed like everyone was just especially after that Dover race, when he had that shot to maybe just give a little bit of a bumper to Matt Kenseth, and he didn't do it. That you kind of think, well, maybe if he would have done that, things would have been a little bit different. And then they expected him, well, he's going to win a race relatively quickly, and it didn't quite happen out that way. But it'd be interesting to see. Rain kind of hindered the scenario for qualifying yesterday. Kyle Busch is on the pole. They kind of lined him up by the owner points now, or the standings, I should say. So Kyle Busch with his wins is the pole sitter there. So should be an exciting chase, I guess, in this new format. I think you got some of the guys. I mean, but barring basically Chris Buescher, and maybe Jamie McMurray, a lot of those guys that are in this chase, I think have some slim percent chance. I'm going to say 0% chance for Chris Buescher to win the championship. But again, it is something that I think helped out his team quite a bit. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, as we normally do here, we're going to advance into our NFL segment of the show. Quick talk last week about the Packers win. They kind of snuck by with a 27-23 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, I knew that game was going to be, it was going to be a tough game for him. It was going to be a tough test. With Jordy Nelson being out for as long as he was, for about a year, that it was going to be different for that passing game. The offense showed signs of being what they were last year, and it also had kind of signs where they looked like they're going to be all right. And with maybe the limited experience, or limited not experience, but limited snaps that some of these guys have taken in preseason, maybe that affected them. Maybe that didn't get them quite in sync. Still good enough to get the job done, but we'll see. But as far as that's concerned, I thought that they looked okay. You got a guy like Eddie Lacy. I know people, just because he didn't put up big numbers, he didn't put up those big gaudy numbers maybe that he did back in 2014 and 2013. But his yards per carry was there when they ran the ball. He ran the ball pretty well, so can't complain too much about that. Once they got that passing game down, they didn't pass for big yards. They didn't go downfield. I think that was kind of the big problem. But I think that, obviously they scored the points they needed to. Rodgers made some pretty sick throws. Jordy Nelson, a lot of his throws were a lot of throws underneath. I think just kind of getting him worked back into the offense. And we'll see what happens. Big test as far as this weekend goes with the Minnesota Vikings. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So what we're going to do, as we normally do without Rudy, I'm going to go through the NFL picks for Week 2. You can take these to the bank. They're going to be winners. Maybe try to pick against the spread just to see how I feel when I do these picks. But of course, we'll start off with the noon games or 1 o'clock games, depending on what time zone you're in, or held 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock games, I guess, to be fair to the whole country, sure. But anyway, the first game on the docket is the Saints at 0-1. They're on the road playing the New York Giants, who are 1-0 after defeating the Dallas Cowboys last week. And the point spread is 4.5 points in favor of the New York Giants. I do like the Giants in this offensive shootout that will happen. The Saints defense, as we know, is just horrid, and kind of giving a win away last week to the Oakland Raiders. So that was